What's going on, guys? This is Joe Tallarico, and you're listening to the Aha Moment podcast, where we find regular people who said no to playing it safe, failed along the way, and are in the middle of their grind to the top. Here's how they think when everyone else tells them no. Guys, today I am here with none other than Shane Griffin of Vitamin Patch Club, and you did Whole Life Balance before?
Yes, yeah, Whole Life Balance is still alive and doing.
You have the Toronto location?
It's a Toronto location now, yeah. The Santa
Awesome.
Monica one we closed.
Nice.
VPC is the new baby, the one we've been pregnant with for 9, 10, 11 months now. It's overdue, but it's coming.
Nice. Tell the people a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from.
Absolutely. So Shane Griffin, I live in LA, originally from Toronto, Canada, 42 years old. Boy, the history goes long and deep, but I'll give it a summary. Before I moved to LA, I just graduated school to become a holistic nutritionist, certified nutritional practitioner. I entered that school immediately upon leaving rehab. So I went from rehab to school, and if you back it up further, right before I went to rehab, I was a nightclub owner.
Quite the switch.
Yeah, pretty dramatic. I sold my properties in Toronto, and 2 years of really bad years. We're depressed. Possessions defined me. Unhappy, bad relationships all the way around. And enough was enough. On a vacation, something very impactful happened, and I decided that it was time to go to rehab. And then about 2 months later, I actually went. My brother was instrumental in getting me to go. He knew that I wanted to go through friends, and made a big step in a play for me to get my ass out here. So I came out to California. I went to a place called Passages in Malibu, which is a non-12-step holistic treatment center, which introduced me to the concept of holistic wellness. And it's been really no looking back since. I mean, it made sense. Going to school, however, was interesting. I was 37 at the time. I'll be sober 5 years at the end of this year, or at the end of November.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was time. I make light of it because I have a philosophy on it, right? If you want anything bad enough, it's worth doing, first and foremost. And the second one is, it was not nearly as hard as I think we're supposed to make it. So in my mind, if you make things hard, they're hard. There's enough things in life that are going to be hard that are out of your control. But there's very few things that you can control. And you can control what you put in your body. Once you're sober and you've got enough time away from the substance, life is still, it's a bag of donuts. Hey, there you go.
Bag of donuts.
Yeah, right? But no, it is. It's a bag of toys, and things come at you when you're not expecting it, but you've got a much better chance of managing them sober. You've got a much better chance of getting through them when you're sober. And quite frankly, the first time you use, if you are sober, you've made a decision to use. Nobody ties you down and injects you with heroin. And if that happens, well, there's criminal charges. I mean, that's different. But 99.99999% of people choose to use again. So in my mind, I was done. That was it. Not doing it again. And I've been sober, so I haven't, had a beer. Because if I'm not going to get drunk, what's the point? I like the effects.
Yeah.
And then I went back to school to become a holistic nutritionist. But the truth of it, and I remember saying this on our first day in school, they went around the room and they asked everybody to introduce themselves. And I literally stood up and said, Shane Griffin, and I recognized 3 girls in my school that had come to my nightclubs. Like, I know you used to bartend at such and such, and it was kind of funny. And then I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but this is part of my aftercare. I got out of rehab a month ago, or 3 weeks ago, whatever the date was. I got out right before Christmas. Excuse me. Right up before Christmas, and then I went and started school January 3rd type thing. Like, it was immediately after. And in schools where I developed Whole Life Balance, part of my journey was recovery and fixing all the crap that I'd done to myself, and that moved me out to LA. I originally moved out here with the concept of Whole Life Balance, which was a nutritional company based. It started as a nutritional advisory, basically. I was a nutritional consultant. I mean, whatever, there's no fancy word for it.
Yeah.
that developed into a storefront, that developed into full mind, body, spirit. We had physical therapy, we had physical high intensity interval training, aerial yoga, traditional yoga, Pilates, acupuncture, fascial stretch, massage therapy, and then drip IV, which has got me into the nutraceuticals business, understanding the absorption and methodology and pharmacokinetics of it. And that's when I realized that a lot of the advice I was giving to people to take oral supplements, if they weren't getting enough food grade supplement, or they weren't eating properly, or they were depleted, I was basically handing them a load of shit, and I didn't know it, but we were only absorbing 30%.
Which is crazy, because you think you're getting all of it, and you're not even getting half.
You're not getting a third. You're not, and it's nobody's lying to you. It's the way. So I don't want to. I'm not sitting here. Oh, the holistic guy hates pharmaceutical. No. That's not the way I am. It's just the way our bodies are designed. Our bodies are designed to eliminate 70% of active ingredients that enter through your digestive tract. It's the simple truth. You can Google first pass metabolism and oral supplements, and it'll show you. And I'm not saying Google because everything on the internet is true. You can go to, like, we've got NCBI database, which is the Department of the United States Department of Health and Sciences, that has 1,300 reports showing the benefits of what we do with vitamin patch, which is a patch applied to the exterior of your skin. It absorbs through your hair follicles, through your sweat glands, and then it enters your circulatory system and migrates through your body. Kind of like what I tell people, to make it simple, is when you take your oral supplements, you're dumping it into the pool, and then to get into the pump, which is in the pool house, has to go through the filter. We're putting in the pump. Right, so it's getting distributed through the pool. It's not the back end of it; it's at the front end of it. That's kind of an explanation I give. But that got me out here. Whole life balance, built that business. Now we have a Toronto location, and along the road, God, you can ask me 100 questions. There's so many things that turned it into Vitamin Patch Club and our charitable thing, and what we're doing with it. It's more than just a patch company. And we were talking earlier a little bit, and it's really like this pyramid of interdependent agencies within the company. We have the one component, which is of course the absolute best delivery mechanism of nutrients you're going to get outside of drip IV or intramuscular or medically induced formulas. We also have this apparatus that we built into our company, where I believe greatly in giving back, and a ton of reasons have affected the change of how I feel about it in the past couple of years. I don't want to sit idly by and accept the status quo. I'm sick of sitting by and seeing people get accolades for doing what should be just fucking human. Just taking care of each other again. Like, why? How we got so misaligned about this we nation instead of what I believe is, or it should be a we nation. Instead, it's like an I nation. And I mean that between both our countries. I don't mean that just independently of the United States. I mean that globally. And I don't know where we started. Maybe it's been here all along and I just had my eyes open, but I don't know why everyone hates each other so much. I don't get it. And I don't get why everybody's so absent to help or contribute or change that thought process where we can't all be, our brothers in arms. Why? Why is it such an outlandish thing to think about nowadays?
People get so scared, especially now. I don't know if it's because you'd think because everything is recorded and visible that people would step up more, but I feel like it's causing people to hold back because everyone's afraid of, like, well, what if I do the wrong thing? What if I do this? And I agree with you completely, and that's what I love about what you're doing with the Vitamin Patch Club and making it solely focused on giving back and helping other people out, because I feel like some people just get so afraid, and I don't know why that is.
Well, I think I think there's some components, and I've never heard that actual talk back to me, which is interesting, because I think there's some components to that. I think we live in a world that is obviously very judgmental. We used to have a 24-hour news cycle, now we've got a 22-second news cycle. With our Instagram, our Snapchat, our Insta Story, our Facebook Live, all the things that we have, and whatever else is going to come out in the next couple of years. And I think there is a worry that I might do the wrong thing. I know some people, have worn. I've got friends of mine who are professional athletes or celebrities in some respect, and they've worn an ill-tasted costume on a Halloween. Ill choice. I know it was not hurtful. I know it was not mean, and my, did they get slaughtered in the media.
And that's what it is, right? It's like you can have it could be an innocent slip up. Like you said, they had no ill intent behind it. Maybe it wasn't the smartest choice, but people just love to eat them alive for
Oh,
that.
yeah, and I remember, and I won't mention because it's ancient history and I would never want to bother this person again with it, but I remember watching the reports. It was on TMZ and stuff. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, we got bigger things to worry about than the guy wore an ill-fitted costume.
Yeah.
You know, and at a private function somebody posted, which is kind of ridiculous. But that being said, I think it speaks volumes to your thought process on it, that, you know, people are afraid to. And I guess that's where I kind of, you know, I think some things happen with age. I joke with people that since I started growing my beard, I feel even older because it looks older. So that all of a sudden it's almost like you command more attention. I know this sounds bizarre. It's like it's powered me, and I even think it's weird when I say it. But there's like this weird empowerment that comes with it. It's like, you know what? I look a little different. I am a little different. I'm going to be a little different. And quite frankly, I don't really give a shit now if I'm not. I know that, well, there's many reasons. Jesus, you're going to get me really animated here.
No worries.
There's many reasons because also when I was in therapy in my recovery, you know, I learned to live my truth. So I've got this person who's living inside me who's honest, who wants to help, who wants to be an advocate for people that are less enfranchised, that actually wants to see people around them do well. I think that's why I was in the hospitality business in the first place, way back when, because I like people to have a good time around me.
It was always inside you. It was just a matter of a catalyst bringing it out.
Yeah, and I think now as you get a little older and you live your truth and you kind of get to a point like, okay, well, there's a lot of wonderful people doing wonderful things in the world. And I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I can only be like me. But I got a lot to say. I've got a lot that I can do. And I have the ability and the brains and the work ethic and the time to build a platform that can help. So pardon my French, but why the fuck am I not? Right? And that's kind of, then I thought, okay, well, how do you get into people's living rooms? How do you get helping? I've done a small speaking lecture circuit, but I haven't dedicated my time to motivational speaking across and going through small halls to banquet halls to whatever size. I'm like, no, there's digital world. We can do things. And my therapist always told me, and this is where I said, you're going to get me animated, I'm going to jump around. You know, he said, Shane, you've got a great heart. You've got a wonderful perspective of wanting to be good to people, wanting people to be happy around you and feel better because of you. He goes, you'll never do wrong if you lead with that. So I might offend some people because I might be, you know, more liberal, or as I've been called by some of my Republican friends down here because I'm Canadian socialist. Yeah, I might have some opinions about equal rights that are more aggressive than maybe one of my friends that's from another state that has a different belief system. But it doesn't make it wrong because it's not hurting anyone. So I think, going back to the original thing, people are afraid. I think I've learned a lot of people are paying attention to me anyways, not a lot are. So I might as well speak my truth, be honest, and try to build this amazing opportunity for Vitamin Pass Club and the charities that we can support and the people that we can support, and then the nutritional advice and the wellness advice and all the things that can build in this awesome epic community. If not me, who? And if not now, when? 2 things I live by, you know?
I love that. And to go off what you were saying about just saying what you feel is on your mind and your values, I love that you have those values and you figured out what it is you believe in and stick to it and not flip-flop on sides, because again, I think that's what people need, number one. And number two, I feel like everyone is so caught up, and it goes back to that fear of like, I need to please everyone. Everyone's so worried about pleasing everyone that you're totally losing yourself in that because you're not sticking by what you believe in. And for you to do that, that's huge because people are going to resonate with that, because people are smart. They're going to pick up on like, this dude's genuine, this is what he believes in, and I fully support that, and that's big.
Yeah, I think it's the authenticity that comes off with it. I mean, this is me. I'm going to talk to you the way I talk to the CEOs, the investors in my business. I'm wearing the same type of outfit. I used to be all razzle-dazzle, bro. I mean, I just joked on the podcast I was on with the Curran brothers at Curran Media, and I joked with them, I said, I used to show up like Conor McGregor does now to a press conference.
And the crazy suits and ties.
But there was no press conference and nobody gave a shit who I was, but I was all flash. You know, my possessions defined me, my audience defined me, my nightclubs defined me. You know what? And that shit's all gone. That's all in the past. You know what defines me is how I'll be remembered. What defines me is legacy now. And I don't know when that happens or when that exact light switch, like the aha moment. Mine was like a dimmer. It wasn't a light switch. It was like slowly the lights came on in the past 5 years. It's funny because I'm saying the 5 years and it's clicking to me about something else. If somebody said to me when I was 2 years in, they said, wait till you get to 5. I don't know who that was, but somebody said that to me in my recovery early on. They were like, wait till you get to 5. Bang, boom, almost to the day. I'll be 5 years this November, but it was about 4 years, so maybe a little bit of an overachiever. But right around the 4th year is whenever I started saying, okay, you need to do more. And it's not just about the addiction. It's not about that. It's what you have to embrace to maintain it, the boundaries, and like you said, the authenticity. I think it also comes down to, again, hey, this is me. Not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to agree with me. But if I'm not hurting anyone, they're apt to disagree. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
You can't
because
please everyone.
You can't. And the only person you've got to really worry about pleasing is yourself. Like, I hated who I saw in the mirror before I went to rehab. I didn't know how much I hated that guy until many, many, many sober nights after. Right? I fell in love with who I am now. I love I love my energy. I love that people, like my mom jokes me, she goes, you talk so much. And I'm like, but you know what, Mom, not too many people tell me to shut up or leave the conversation. So like, if they're still listening and either my story's funny, and if that's it, if I'm a funny guy and I make you laugh, I've done good for you. If I end up being able to impact the world, wow.
That's huge.
And who, we're told as children, you can do anything you want. I'm finally telling myself that, and I'm doing it in this with. I mean, I got an awesome team. I've got people backing me and supporting me and giving me. I've got my friggin' lawyer hasn't taken a check because he's just this awesome guy who's a friend of mine through another friend. And I literally, and this is absolutely no joke. I was almost crying on the phone with him because he's helping me through some stuff. And I literally was like, dude, what are you doing this for me? For I'm like, you're a lawyer. You got billing rights. Like, Shane, this is what friends are for. I'm like, I got some great friends. They wouldn't, and we're putting together big deals. Big things are happening. We're converting companies and C Corps, and I've got investors and your LOIs and all this stuff's happening with the company. Like, I know what the bill would be because I've bought companies before. I had nightclubs. I had lawsuits. We had litigation. I know what that cost. And I was like literally almost in tears on the phone with him. I'm like, oh, dude, I can't be. How? He's like, Shane, look at what you're going to be doing. I want to be a part of this. I'm like, really, bro? And he's like, yeah. He goes, people talk it. He goes, you're actionetics. You're in motion. He goes, I know you. I can see it in your eyes. Like, when you start talking about what you can do to give back, it's almost like I want a piece of it. So I'm fortunate. I'm grateful. And I just fucking want to do it, man.
There's two big things in there I want to get into. The first one is going back to your story and transitioning to this now. For people who may not necessarily be in the same situation as you are in, or maybe they are, when you're in that rehab and switching out to trying to find your purpose, people can go so many different ways. Not everyone's going to have that happy ending. Some might, keep going downhill or go back to their old ways. Are there any tips you have, or how can they change that mindset so it's focusing more on the good, like what happened with you versus?
Well, here's what I've told people since my recovery, and I don't think a lot of treatment centers. Let me rephrase that. The people that work in the treatment centers that care about people getting successful in sobriety, they love it. The people that are counting the money don't. There is enough addiction in this world. We don't need relapse customers, first and foremost. So the whole goal should be to get people healthy. In the defense of the medical system and the insurance system, is 30 days for some people is not enough. Sometimes it takes longer to be able to hit the core problems that they actually have. Going into treatment from experience. Well, when I drove up, I was in tears. I was absolutely in tears. I should have been clinically dead when I checked in. I told you the story before. They looked at my brother and they said, what else he had to drink? He's like, nothing since we got off the plane. They said, and they literally said to him, we've never had somebody come in here upright with that much alcohol in their body.
And you were fully functioning.
I was talking. I was having a conversation with them. They said, why are you here? So, the joke after they said it to my brother, I said, well, I guess I'm in the right place. I was able to be witty back. But going into treatment is kind of like your first year of high school or kindergarten. Pick your poison. You kind of identify your tribe first. Because it's a bunch of people that don't know each other, that all know they have to be there, that all know there's a problem. Kind of like, ninth grade, right? Or you guys started ninth grade in the States, right? There's not middle school?
Yeah, so at least for me, middle school is 5th to 8th and then 9th.
Okay, so high school's still ninth. Yeah, it's freshman's ninth. Yeah, okay. So we have ninth grade at home. ninth grade's like a scary time, right? You find your friends from elementary school, right? And they're like the younger thing. And you get them, and there's all these new people, and like, where do I fit in? Am I a jock? Am I a band guy? Am I the funny guy? Whatever. Well, that's kind of like treatment. You've got a guy that's in at 65. You got me, who was 37. You got a couple 18-year-olds who are like surfer kids from Florida. You've got all these different people in there. And you find, so there's the human element. Now, 30 days would be enough if everybody went in, and I'm going to say did it exactly like I went in, I didn't give a shit. I wanted to be there. I took every single opportunity they gave me. I also had to pay cash because I'm Canadian, so I didn't have insurance covered. So when you're paying that freight, that passages is, I'm like, you guys want me to do what? Absolutely. When do I do it? 6 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night? I will be there. It didn't matter. I wanted to get everything out of it. So either you got to be 100% involved, but the human effect usually is that people don't get that involved. So the things that I say that usually disrupt or tick off is, this is the easiest thing you're going to do in your life. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? I go, recovery is the easiest thing. It's absolutely my sister, friends. I'm fortunate and grateful that I've got friends at home that have quit drinking and not gone to rehab. And I don't coach them because they're friends. We chat once in a while. Some of them are like 6, 7, 8 months sober. Some of them are years sober. Some of them went to rehab, But like, that's an impact to me. That's from my own community. In my little town of Markham, there's like 5 or 6 people running around that aren't drinking because I could do it. What an amazing honor.
That's wild.
Right? Is that they saw this guy that they knew that we're friends with, who was, nightclub Shane, crazy son of a bitch, and he was sober. Oh, I guess that's the GoPro just talking. It takes pictures. Sorry, I apologize. So I would say it's the easiest thing you can do, and this is where you're mad. I don't know why it keeps taking pictures, but whatever. It's easy. It's the only thing that you can do to get ahead in your life and have to do nothing. So my point of that is that in a relationship, you've got to work at it. You've got to be a partner. You've got to make concessions. You've got to do things. You've got to, in your business, you've got to get up in the morning. You've got to go to work. You've got to make decisions. You've got to do things. With recovery, you just have to not. Just don't use. Now, there's a ton of emotional stuff you've got to do and a ton of aftercare, but really and truthfully, once you're sober, don't use. And so the people that have it rougher on the outside, everybody not has relapse. Everybody has wants. Everybody has desires. I had a client once say to me, but Shane, my boss is such a jerk and my work sucks and my wife and I are fighting. I'm like, then go drink. Well, what are you going to say? I'm not going to stop you. You're finding excuses to remove yourself from the issue or the problem you're having. Sorry. To remove yourself of the issue or not deal with the issue. And that, my friend, is an excuse to want to go drinking. So just go drink. Because either you're going to do the work or you're not.
We've got Shane's dog here.
Yeah.
Gracing us with his presence.
Causing a hassle. Bronx, come over here, lie down. Sorry.
It's okay.
He's always really calm. No. He's going to be a jerk.
That's not.
Love you, buddy. This isn't your time, okay?
We'll get you on next week.
Yeah, sorry. So, the first thing is it's easy. You just don't do it. The other thing that I think is really important is you have to have, a plan before you get a treatment. I had applied to school. I had connected with a personal trainer. I had connected with a psychologist in Toronto. I connected with a hypnotherapist. I connected with a massage therapist. I connected with a ton of people to be able to keep the habits that I created in treatment. So for the year that I was out of treatment, went back to school, I had an appointment every single day that I had committed to. And by the time I got home at night, I was exhausted and I didn't want to go out. So aftercare plan, huge.
So that gave that accountability too, to stay on track of things, which is the biggest thing for anyone, no matter what they want to do. Like when I was a trainer training clients, half the reason you're paying me, or most of the reason, isn't even necessarily for the training. You're paying to be accountable to show up and me making sure you get your ass in gear.
You're so right, because Sarah was my trainer for 2 years in Toronto before I moved to LA, and I had her come, and God bless her. She came at 6:30 in the snow, sleet, it didn't matter, to my house. And there's this guy, she was my morning therapist I used to joke with, because I would get up and she's like, how she learned about nutrition the whole way I was learning school, and I was learning about who I was and experiencing. But it was exactly that. I have respect for people. I actually do respect their time. And if this girl's going to get up from downtown Toronto and drive up to Markham where I live, which is about a 30-minute drive, be there for 6:30. I mean, she's out of bed by 5:30. I better be up and ready to go. And even if I didn't lift well that day, or we used a lot of TRX and we used a lot of just body training, plyometrics,
Okay.
right? She had me like walking on my hands, doing crab crawls, bear crawls, chin ups, just eat like body weight, and a lot of TRX stuff, as I said. And if I didn't give it my all, I was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, you killed it today. I'm like, no, I was a little tired and had some stuff on my mind, whatever. So, but you're right, accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability.
And then, so that second part I wanted to get into was you were talking about your friend who's a lawyer helping you out. How do you create that support system? Because that's a big thing to have people who believe in you and what you're doing, even if just you, that they're willing to help and be there for you. Not everyone has that and could use something like that. So how do you build that friendship in that environment?
It goes back to your truth. It's funny, when I came in there and used your bathroom, I saw the My Intent candle, and I wear a My Intent bracelet. And My Intent bracelet, if you can read what it says,
truth.
Yeah. So I live my truth. Again, going back to that thing about speaking with people, not everyone's going to like you. People are drawn to authenticity. I think in this world full of Snapchat and Instagram, there's so much BS going on, and I'm a party to it. I joked with my Tanya, who works with me today. I said, geez, 23 hours, 59 minutes were shit today. But that one Instagram photo was awesome. Life was good for a minute, because it took me a minute to get the right picture.
Yeah.
So to build the network, be you. The right people will appear. There's two things that I tell people often, and I wish I could preach this. I'm actually thinking about getting a tattoo, because I've got tattoos from my neck down everywhere on me. You don't see somewhere in the shirt today. Not that I would be usually sitting here shirtless, but because I'm not wearing like an open button or whatever, is practice two things. Delayed gratification, because I think that is lost from my generation down, including my generation. I'm not picking on the younger people. Me, 42 down, everything started evolving at a fast rate. Nothing takes time, and nobody respects or appreciates the time it takes to get things done right. Delayed gratification is tremendously important.
Have you heard of the marshmallow experiment?
I haven't.
So it deals with that. So the marshmallow experiment was a study they did with young kids. I forget the age range, but they were young. And so they had them in the lab room, and there was just a plate of marshmallows there. And so they were told, all right, the scientist said to them, all right, I'm going to leave the room. You can either eat those marshmallows now, or you can wait until I come back, but it's up to you. And so they left, and then they would observe through the window what the kids decided to do. So, of course, there was some kids who waited to eat it, some kids waited right away. And so what they did was they followed those kids years later. I forgot if it was 30 years later, but when they were adults, to see the people who delayed that gratification versus the people who ate it right away. Is there a difference in their success rates?
Oh my God, I bet there would be. What an amazing experiment.
And the ones who delayed it had a better success rate than the ones
better
who just...
trajectory.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's the lesson. That's exactly, there's a scientific study, which is awesome, because that's the one thing I want, the first one. And the second one is personal responsibility. Enough blaming other people. If you don't like where you are, move. If you don't like your situation, and it's not always that easy, I get that. It's not always that easy. But I'll tell you, at 40 years old, it wasn't easy for me to sell everything and everybody I knew in Toronto. My life has been there. All my family, my nieces, my nephews, my parents, who I'm very close with, girls that I still was in love with, that were ex-girlfriends that I was always hoping to bump into them on the street. My network of friends, 40 years of friendships. And I'm like, I'm moving to California because I want to help people. The first year here, it looks great on Instagram. God, I love it here. I love that I can have a rough day and then be at the top of a mountain to watch the sunset. I mean, that's epic. Right? I love that I can take my boat to Catalina and decompress for 24 hours. I'm spoiled rotten with the weather and the thing out here. But man, I didn't know anyone. And that year, going into my third year of recovery, moving out of here, trying to launch a new business, trying to get into people's network, as you're asking, and it's a different vibration out here. It's totally, America's different than Canada, and LA's different than America, right? It's such not a use and abuse environment. I don't buy into that. It's either very healthy or very not, but it's very fast and aggressive. It's almost like passive aggressive. And I was lonely my first year. Like when I moved out here, I had a girlfriend, and very shortly thereafter, about 2 months into me being here, we broke up. And I had this master plan. I'm going to come to California. I'm going to crush it with my consulting business. I'm going to be helping people in addiction recovery, and whole life balance is going to be franchised. And I'm going to license this software that I created to every wellness center, and you're going to come out here and we'll buy a place in Calabasas, and you and I are going to live like a Kardashian without the other Kardashian stuff. I had it all done. I had everything planned. I was in love with this girl, and things happened, and we didn't stay together, and that kind of lost some momentum. And you're sitting out in this beautiful home in the Hollywood Hills, you're looking at this beautiful sunrise, and you're not happy. And that's whenever I said, okay, I'm going to open a retail store because I need to get human contact again. So whole life balance for me, pitching this software, consulting firm to people became the store where I could actually impact. And that year was a tough year, a really hard year. My second year out here, well, second and third, really, really challenging because it's launching a business, hiring people, expectations, not meeting budgets. But I was helping a few. That got me through. Okay. People would come in, I always said that we gave them great nutrients and vitamins through the drip IV, but boy, the hour that we hung out really gave me a lot back because I need people in my life. So to answer your network, these people have come to me. I knew one person out here that I'd met in rehab, and her family's basically adopted me out here. And a lot of the people I've met is through her because I trust her. So I've been told when you move to LA, keep your circle really small. All right, keep it tight and keep it small. Grow with the people that you know. And as soon as somebody's in the circle that doesn't fit, shift your circle to the right. So for me, I've been fortunate, but I live who I am. And I think if you're likable and if you're honest and if your intention is sincere, good people will find you. I have a lot of people supporting me on this vitamin patch club, not because of the patch. I mean, they think it's amazing and it's epic, and it is a better delivery system. And we deliver it to your door, and for $29.85 a month, 30 days of nutrients, which is super affordable. And we got funny videos, we got all this stuff that's going to launch, but it's the back end stuff that people realize, and that anybody that knows me knows that I've been this way my whole life. I just didn't have the platform to be able to stand. Or I was, for such a loudmouth guy, I was pretty shy. I was afraid of what people would think of me. What if I put myself all out there and it doesn't work? Whoa, okay. I mean, seriously, okay. Fail big.
Exactly.
Fail big. I can do manual labor if I have to. So if this all falls apart, I'll get a job. But it's not going to, because it's too epic.
That's amazing, and I congratulate you for following through on all that, because the big thing we were talking about this beforehand that I'm trying to do with this podcast is reach out to those people. So you were talking about how when you were, I believe it was 40, you went back, or 37, you went back to school and learned all this. And I have friends before I even moved out here, when we were 21 or 25, they were saying, oh, but that means I'd have to go back to school and go against everything because their route didn't work for them. And the thought of going back and relearning just overwhelmed them.
Bro, I was scared shitless walking into that classroom.
Yeah, but you did it, and you followed through.
I was valedictorian of our class.
See, look at that.
I was 37. I'm very proud of that because everybody in that class was much smarter and much more sophisticated than I was. The class was full of 19 to 27-year-old girls. There was one other guy in my class, or in my graduating class, that I remember. And I remember walking in there, I said this in my valedictorian speech, I said, I went in with a pad and paper and I saw these Bluetooth and iPads. And I couldn't keep up. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, I had no idea, and I remember thinking, oh, I'm not going to last here. But I found just a piece, again, it was a holistic environment. I followed my gut. When I was at treatment, I said, that would be a good idea, maybe I should go back to school. And I took the chance. Took the chance to go. Another important thing on that whole, what if you can change your mind. So that's the big thing too, is I remember when I talked to my therapist in Toronto over the phone, hiring him from LA. His name's Sean Megson. He's such a remarkable, brilliant man, and I'm so grateful to to still have him involved in my life. But he looked at me and I'm like, dude, what if I don't do good at school? I go, what if I don't like it? He said, Shane, then don't go. Like, just because you're this commit guy, I'm going to see it to the end, I'm going to go all the way, that's fine. That's a great attribute. It's a great character. It's certainly not a flaw, but if it's not serving you, move. Yeah. He said, but if you pivot, before you pivot, have a plan. So you might have to go through 3 weeks of stuff you don't like, while you're making your secondary plan. Don't stop and be unproductive. So continue on your path, and so because if you didn't have a plan and build another plan, you just quit every time it got hard, right? Because I don't like this anymore. Because I'll tell you, 90% of running businesses you don't like, right? I said to my partners in Toronto, Sandra, when we're having a meeting, and it almost was like a meeting where I was going to let her not be a partner. And I said, what do you love most about what you think you're going to do? She said, I love the fact that I'm going to be able to counsel people and help them with nutrition. I love to help people and, enlighten them and inspire them. I said, good, you'll do that 5% of the time. How do you feel about that? She's part of me. I said, you're going to actually do what you love. I said, if you want to do that, go work for somebody and just be a thing. I said, because 95% of your day is going to be clients, marketing, strategy, accounting, cleaning, light bulb changing, people canceling, booking, washing soaks. You name it. I mean, it's the day-to-day. It's the people coming in to pitch you on something, the customers that don't like something. That's what you deal with. And then if you're just so lucky, you'll make an appointment after you're usually closed with somebody that needs help that could only make an appointment at 8 o'clock, and you get an hour to help somebody from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock when you should be home dead, tired in bed. But it gives you a little bit of peace of, okay, I'm doing this all for a reason. I worked 60 hours this week to help one person, and I didn't make money. But that one person made me feel good. And if that's enough, that's enough. But always have another plan. So, just go for it. I didn't know that I was going to be out here doing this charitable company, Vitamin Patch Club, that has this amazing component with this amazing team. I had no idea. It's like a high wire with no safety net.
Yeah. And that's a great point you brought up of you don't know, but you got to have those plans because, like you said, you would have never known back in your club owning days that you would have a Vitamin Patch Club right now.
Oh, God, no.
But each thing led to something else. It was once you got out of rehab, you were learning more about the body. Then you had the whole life balance. Then you learned more about the patching, and you studied in school, and that's why.
Well, it's sorry to interrupt you, but it's so brilliant you mentioned that because I haven't heard the chronological that way. I wouldn't have been able to develop the technology and do the research if not be for the school. So when I had 10 years ago or 5 years ago, if I had this idea about a vitamin patch, seems like common sense. But there's a lot that goes into this. It's nutrients that become water soluble. They've got to be born into the adhesion. They can be a certain amount of Dalton measurements. They have to be a certain size Dalton. They're no larger than a certain size Dalton to absorb in the skin. There's special nutrients that if they chelate together, they won't cross the blood-brain barrier, so you have to keep those in separate packs. There's a ton. I only know all that, not because I went to nutrition school. I know that because as soon as I came up with this idea, I sat for 18 hours, and literally, nonstop, right? I think it was actually a full 2 days, to be honest with you. I lost track of time. But I sat and I went through every single thing online and computers. I went to the library. Wow. Who goes to the library anymore? But I had this stack of files. I've still got them bookmarked on my phone, on my iPad, everywhere. 3M technology with it, all these nanotechnology, micronutrients, nano patches, water soluble, saliva soluble. But the point is, I wouldn't have had it. I wouldn't have been able to do that wealth of digging if I hadn't gone to Institute of Holistic Nutrition to earn my nutritional practitioner's degree. So, because I didn't have the skill set before, so everything does give you another tool. And they're all for purpose.
And it's utilizing those, like I'm even sure the business side of owning your club, having learned that throughout the years, you're using those business skills now to run this business. So it's like, as long as we were talking about this before the interview, you got to look at everything failed or not failed and see what skills can I take, how many skills that have utilization can I earn over the years, because you may not realize it in the moment, but when it comes to finding your calling, you're going to realize, oh wow, all those random odd end things I did all led to this one point. And I can't even say like, oh, working that random job as a barista or doing that was useless, because you'll realize, I need that skill.
Customer relations.
Yeah.
Work the front counter in a B2B or a person-to-person business.
Yeah.
Oh my God, or business-to-person in B2B. Try to do it like, and yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's been such a resource. I worked for my family business for many years. I always was surrounded by these hard, aggressive, blue-collar guys that my dad started a company, and my brother now owns it and bought him out and he's flourished into an amazing, epic business, but it's in industrial services, paint shop maintenance. And my brother does a lot more than that now, but that's how it started, cleaning paint shops for the manufacturers, the big three auto. And I would do shutdown works in Jefferson, Detroit, or Windsor, Ontario, with grown men, and I was 14, 15, you know, and we're in assembly plants, and like it's all beers after, and you go out and Barbie, and you know, and it's but I learned how to work, even though I was not nearly a hard worker by any stretch, because I had a little chip on my shoulder. I was the boss's son. I was modeled how to work, and I was modeled how to work by my parents, and I was modeled how to work by my brother. I watched my brother, you know, turn my dad's business from a very successful business to super successful. The strategies and the work ethic that my older brother has is, you know, and I don't know, he got it passed down from my parents, but I've been able to, like, fortunate to be able to see that, you know.
Did you have any mentors growing up, or were they kind of your mentors growing up?
My parents, I said this in the previous podcast, I'm fortunate to have living heroes.
That's awesome.
You know, I really do. My dad's side of the family, the Griffins, right? They are an exceptional breed of strong-willed, hardworking, honest as a day long, a little bit of troublemakers, but they're from Ottawa Valley, which is an area in Canada that's just northwest of Ottawa, which is our country's capital, and it's a farm, very you know, work. So you're either a pipeline or you're a farmer, basically. And my cousin Connie, for instance, she works in a different business. But most of them, they come from really, really hardworking, ethical people. And I've always had them as a mentor, because like my Uncle Bob and my Uncle Richard, who was a wild guy, is no longer with us, but they always had this essence of stick together, get it done, we can do this. And that's the kind of, our Griffin family's huge. My dad has, you know, 13 siblings. You know, I think I've got like 27 first cousins or something like that, if you add it all up, or 22 or a very large number. You know, we just had a family reunion with probably 60 people there, and half of us couldn't make it. So mentors, I've been modeled. I say it's modeling more than mentoring. You know, but my mom and dad, they're entrepreneurs, so I was able to see what it takes. Business around our table at the kitchen at dinner. It wasn't, oh well, did you get to the gym today? It was like, did you see what happened in accounting? Do you believe that they overcharged this, or that their accounts payable? My dad would be like, oh, Bonnie, tell me they didn't do that. Jesus, Mary and Joseph type thing, you know? Like, so, you know, so that was our dinner talk. And that was such a good lesson, because, you know, I hate to say it, but I feel guilty if I don't put in a 12-hour day. Now, I didn't until I found, this is the truth, I didn't until I found something I love to do. So like, I love what I'm doing right now. I love building this company. I hate it some days, but I love the vision. I love the opportunity. I love what we can do with it, and what we are going to do with it. I mean, it's like this, I feel the locomotive moving, right? And I don't feel any, and this is weird, I don't feel any pressure to perform, because I can already see it finished. If that makes any sense. The vision is so laid out in my head that it's like, anytime I started something else, any other company is like, all right, gotta show everybody, okay, watch, you know, put the dance on. This is kind of like, I've got this friggin' awesome opportunity to grow this epic thing, and I know people are watching, but it's almost like, I guess it's the first time being the quarterback of the winning team. It feels like.
It's a great feeling to have, I'm sure.
It's epic, and it took I'm 42. You know, and I've had a lot of wins, I've had a lot of losses and stuff like that, but I mean, this just feels, something feels different. It just feels different. It feels like we can change shit, and like on a global level. I mean, me. Ha! You know? Hoo-ah! As Pacino would do.
And what's cool about that is, like you said, you're 42 now, and I'm sure if someone said, I can wave a magic wand and give you this vision when you're younger, you might say, no, I don't want it then, because I wasn't ready for it then. I wouldn't have appreciated it. I wouldn't have had the skill set. So are you happy it came at this time period? Would you have preferred it?
I have absolutely only one regret of everything I've done. Well, that's not true. That's a lie. The damn truth thing. I have a few regrets. I wish that I hadn't worried my family so much. You can never apologize enough times to a mom who sat up worried, whether you knew at the time she was. It's worse to know it after, that I know how frightened my family was for me for many years. That I regret, and no apology. And I've forgiven myself, but it still gets me here.
Yeah.
You know, it really gets me in the throat because they're wonderful people and they did nothing to deserve it. I made adult choices to do adult stupid shit. That's one regret. The other regret is that I probably knew I needed to get help and I acted later. I had a girlfriend ask me over dinner, she said, "Do you think I drink too much?" And I said, "You already know the answer." And this is when I was sober. She was better than me. I said, "I won't answer that. You're asking me. You know the answer." She hasn't gotten help. It's been 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I'm not saying she has a problem. I don't know. But if you think you do, you probably do.
Yeah.
You know? So I think probably I knew that I needed help probably in my early 30s or 31, but I was still trying to keep this image going. So I feel like I've wasted about a decade. And now that I'm sober and clear-minded and opportunities in front of me, I'm like, damn. Because I might only get to where I got to get at 85, but close to 75, and I have 10 more years to go further. So you think about that, but you're absolutely right on the fact that I wouldn't trade what I've done to get here for anything. I've loved some amazing people in this world. I've been burned by some jerks. I've been played a fool, and I've played people to be a fool. There's things I'm not proud of, but they were all amazing lessons. I mean, some of the decisions I made in the nightclub business that were so pious and stupid and braggadocious, my God, I remember them. I remember, for instance, one thing I said, God, I just said this on the phone the other day to one of our team members. I said, I have to understand how that works. I said, Shane, I've got this. I said, I have to understand this. I said, I don't need to know how to do it, but I have to understand it. Because I'm going to go way back to my very first nightclub. My very first nightclub, I had a great team. I had great management. I'm not knocking them at all when I say this, okay? I hired 2 people, a manager and assistant manager, and he and she were amazing. And we don't talk anymore, but they hold a very special place in my heart. But anytime something was not good or not going well, or I needed to make a very tough business decision, like I'd maybe let one of them go, I wouldn't, because I couldn't do their job. I was held ransom. I was held hostage. They didn't know it. They didn't put it over my head. They didn't treat me like that. I put myself in a position where I wasn't able to. So I wouldn't change a damn thing, because if I didn't know that then, I wouldn't want to be involved in every single aspect. I'd be like, oh, hire a guy. He can do that. Digital marketing, great. How are we going to do lead generation? Good. Hire a company. How are we going to do Facebook ads? Good. Do that. How are we going to do conversion, click-throughs, quick funnels, landing pages, lead pages, all this stuff? I can do all of that. Can I do it well? No. Can I write my sales copy right? No. But I know what sales copy has to look like. I know what my Insta page or my lead pages or my landing page or ClickFunnels, whichever apparatus you're using, or ActiveCampaign, I know how the functionality works. I know how we have to get our follow-up emails to our customers. I know how to shoot the video content. I directed 2 of our videos. I watched our director for 3 days. I'm like, that's not so hard. You just point and shoot. Now it is much more complicated. and our videos are pretty juvenile. You'll be able to see them all on our YouTube channel. Those will be marketed when we launch, and they're fun. But yeah. Life, God, it's such an amazing ride, and it's a little of a roller coaster, but if you're here and you're breathing and you're listening to this, then what are you waiting for?
That's awesome.
Serious, what are you waiting for? I waited. I regret. That's one of my one regret is hurting my parents. My second regret was waiting. Other than that, I fucked up a lot. I made tons of mistakes. I should be dead. I've flipped cars. I've fractured my skull. I've broken ribs. I've broken noses, fractured orbitals. God, I've fractured every 4 points of my rib cage. I've had breaks or fractures from, drunken mistakes. I've done stupid things. But I'm still here.
Which makes you the perfect example of, yes, you're going to mess up a lot in your life, whether you're pursuing what it is you want or what you think you want, it doesn't work out. And you're going to feel like, oh, this is a dead end. But you're living proof that, it will work out. You just have to believe and keep pushing forward.
If it's not over yet, then it's not over.
Yeah.
Simply put, if you're not pushing up daisies, then you still got a chance to do something. And you know what? I honestly, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I'm doing what I believe is right. I believe that I have an opinion, and I have a voice, and I have a platform that can actually help the world. I believe that. That's not braggadocious. That's not arrogance. I believe it in my soul. That doesn't mean somebody else has to have that same attribution or goal. But if your goal is just to be a better dad, Stop making fucking excuses. Go be a better dad. Some people's that's all it is. I've got a client that's all he wanted. He's like, Shane, how do I be a better dad? I said, well, what does a better dad look like to you? He goes, probably, not going and playing as much sports after. Like, he plays softball in the summer and men's league hockey and all. I go, okay, so which sport do you like the least? Probably this one. Oh, why don't you miss 3 games this season? Start there. Just start there.
Gotta go all in and on those excuses, like you were saying.
Well, we live with this thing in the back of our mind called the saboteur. Boy, does that saboteur like to beat us up. You can't do this. You shouldn't do this. It's too hard. It's too this. The bottom line is, and I deal with this with clients all the time. You don't have to tell them what's wrong. Much like my ex-girlfriend asking me, or one of my ex-girlfriends asking me, do you think I drink too much? You know. We truly, generally, unless you have a severe deficiency in learning, you know what's wrong.
Especially, like you said, if you're even questioning yourself and it's stirring in your mind, clearly there's some issue there that you need to dig deeper on and figure out.
Absolutely. I think if we got back to, and I talked about this on the previous different podcast or a different show, if we got back to humans understanding, first of all, we're all part of the same race. It's the human race. The only the inflection and difference in our skin color or the way we look is due to where we are longitude, latitudinally on the globe as we evolved. So we're all the fucking same. So and whatever your choices or preclusions are, things you like to do sexually or whatever, guess what? Born that way too. So like we're all bleed the same. We bleed the same. We all fear. We animals have emotions. We have we're not that complex. If we could just get back to, am I my brother's keeper? And I don't mean that from a religious standpoint. I mean just that neighborly, that how they make movies about Pleasantville, which maybe it never fucking existed, where the neighbor's like, hey, good morning, Charlie, how are you? Can I roll a shovel? Absolutely, I'll get it back to you tomorrow. Maybe that never happened, but maybe it should. Maybe it should, maybe we just need to get a little bit back to just, what, how are you? Here's a challenge. Here's a simple challenge, people. Walk up to somebody on the street, ask them, look them in the eye and say, how are you today? And look at them for 2 seconds after you've asked them. Don't say, how are you, and look away. How are you today? And let them answer and say, that's great. If it's good. If they're having a terrible day, they probably don't say that's great. Try that. Make a human connection. Realize that we're in this together. All of us. From Iceland to Australia, from England to China to Tokyo to US to Toronto. It don't matter.
I remember years back, I remember hearing a story of someone who I believe had jumped off the the Golden Gate Bridge, and I believe when they checked the note at her house, like her suicide note, it said, I'm going to walk to the bridge today. And if one person looks up at me and smiles, I won't do it.
Unbelievable.
That alone is, and that's what you're saying, like we need to connect more. The fact that not a single person looked this person in the eye. So by your challenge, you can.
And I walked across to San Francisco. I was just there for my first time. That's a long friggin' walk. Yeah. That's not like that is. I parked at the far side. No, I Ubered to the far side and I walked just across one direction. Me and my dog, and it was yeah. And there's a lot of people that walk that bridge.
Yeah.
There's a lot. So that is pretty shameful.
Yeah.
That is pretty shameful as a human race that we'd let that person do that. And they might have had some issues. And yeah, if they let themselves go, or they lost themselves in the myriad of problems of life. But wow, what a disappointment as a human side. It would only take one person to say, good morning.
Yeah.
How are you?
So that takes his challenge full steam, guys. Like, do it. You don't know whose life you could be saving just by doing that.
Absolutely.
Or whose day you're totally turning around.
Hey, worst case scenario, save your own.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
When I do it, I get in trouble sometimes from people because I offer a lot of my services for free, mainly my accountant. But he's like, what happened on Tuesday? I'm like, that person came in, they needed help. They had the cash. So we gave them a drip and we gave them. But the point is the reward you get, and I know they say, you get more than you give. Try it. Because it really is. I do this charity event with my mother every year for cystic fibrosis, and I got put into it because she invited me to it. And I made a comment. I said, Mom, what's with the production value in here? I go, like, you guys are using the golf course's sound system? Like, I was being snide. And she said, well, I guess you're a production manager next year. He's better. So for 12 years now, I've been the production manager, and we go back and we do that this year. It's Ghosts and Goblins, but again, that's not the wow factor. It's and I appreciate you saying, it's cool, the reaction, but I'm so proud of doing this with my mom. I'm so proud of what we've raised. I'm so proud of, Lauren, who's the little girl that inspired us to do it. It's my mom's best friend's granddaughter was born with CF, and it was an unknown disease to us. And we're able to be a part of this. And that feeling of, and this is 100% true. It took me to the second year of my sobriety to be able to say, you're welcome. This is an interesting little sideline. I did it with integrity. I did it all the time with my mom, and I'm very proud of it. But my Aunt Pat would come, I call her my Aunt Pat. She would come up to me at the end of it, she'd hold me, it's her granddaughter, and she'd give me a hug and she'd say, thank you so much for what you've done. And I always blew it off, going, no big deal, Pat, I couldn't accept the thank you, because I had felt less things. I was an addict most of the years that I did it. And I knew what I was doing outside. I knew that I was probably doing a little blow there, keep me going. So I always felt so less than that I couldn't accept the thank you, so I would blow it off. Now I look her back in the eye and say, you're welcome. Because I did fly home from California. I have put time in this, I put thought in this, I put care in this, and it's okay to be respected and acknowledged. So, yeah, the idea to be able to give something of yourself to others, it's not BS, It's not BS. You truly do get much more back. You just do. And if you don't, you can contact me at Shane@vitaminpatchclub.com. You can make a great client if you don't feel a reward, by helping or contribute to somebody else's well-being. It's a pretty simple thing.
That's big. When it comes to someone pursuing whatever their career is, what is your take on when they should quit versus when they should keep going, and what defines that separation?
Ooh, that's a tough one, because I've got one of those go-get-it attitudes that even when I usually walk away from things a little bit too late.
Okay.
My larger failure, but then you learn from those mistakes.
Exactly. So
provided you learn from it, do it once, don't repeat it, I guess would be the thing. I probably knew a couple months previous or 2 months previous that I should have walked away from one of my businesses of recent. I don't know if it was stubbornness or the will to go through with it, but I did know. So my answer would be, you got to listen to your gut. Our gut is basically our subconscious that has a wealth of information of related effects neurologically that remind us of the same situation that you might not even remember that it's happened before. It's like the real memory, right? So your gut is telling you for a reason. It's sometimes really hard to listen to your gut. It's sometimes really hard.
Especially if you've worked up the saboteurs so much in your brain or some other aspect that's tricking you into figuring out what is your gut and what isn't.
Yeah, sometimes it's the saboteurs in my gut, but I think ultimately if you get people to get honest with each other and get honest with themselves, I don't know how this will relate, but for some reason this just popped into my head, so I'm going to throw it out there and see if I can live connect the dots. One of the things they told us to do in rehab was at the beginning of, before you went to bed every night, or else as soon as you get up in the morning to do a morning mantra. They provided us with one, right? I work on your inner child. And it was, I'm sorry I gave you this. I'm sorry that I was not there for you. I'm sorry that I gave you alcohol and drugs. I was not there for you then, but I'm here for you now. I will not let you down again. I will not disappoint you again. I will emotionally support you, and I will be with you. I love you. You are enough. You are worthy, and you can get through this. And there's a couple more lines in there. I haven't said it in 4 years, so cut me some slack. But the point of that was, how I was going to attach this back, was basically the acknowledgement of I know I was going to tie this. I know I was going to tie it together. Sorry about that. Is I would do that in front of the mirror, and the first time I did it, I'd say it felt ridiculous. It felt ridiculous. I'm like, this isn't going to help. Did it again. This isn't going to help. But the third day, I felt some reality to it. So my point, and I don't know how I strung this back together, so thank you for your patience, everyone, is if you can look at yourself in the mirror and have a conversation with yourself, at first you're going to feel stupid. Second, you might feel a little silly, but you're going to get your answer. You're going to start believing it. So when do you know to give up, or when do you know to stop? Ask yourself. Close the bathroom door, look in the mirror and say, are you going to make it through this? can you find a way out of this? Is this worth doing anymore? Can we get through it? Is this over? Ask yourself. Listen to your answer. And it's not, oh, it's hard. Okay, hard's not quit. It's insurmountable. Might be time to turn in. But then sit back and take a step back and look at what perhaps led to that decision. Most important thing, you've got it in front of you. Pen to paper notes, my friend. Write it down. Write down your thoughts. Journal or bullet list or whatever you got to do. Write them down because they reflect, and you don't even need to, you can rip every page and throw it out as soon as you write the journal. I actually did that for a few months. I still remember what was in those journals.
Wow.
I remember because there's an emotional attachment between the hand and the pen. And that's why they always say, like, if you're going to write a letter to somebody, write it by pen. Don't type on a computer. It's not connected. It's not connected. You can go back and you can delete. You have to scrape out on paper. Yeah, you can start over, right? But once you get that flow, it's that flow. So write down what you might have not done well or what you've done right, and then move from there.
You hear that, guys? Rewind it, re-listen to that if you have to. That's huge news. Write it down. Look at yourself in the mirror. Recognize, is it something that's insurmountable, or can you get through it? You got to really be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's truth. Living your truth. And it's not that hard. It
Yeah.
really, really is. And it sounds like this, well, who's this kooky dude from LA, man? Like he's, I don't surf, guys. I wish I did. I don't. I'm not that chill. I mean, I'm an aggressive dude who wants to build a big business and save the world at the same time. But it's just not that difficult. You just have to look in the mirror and say, who do I want to be? Great. Oh, listen up to this one. In treatment, I learned a lot in treatment, guys. I told you I paid attention. And this stuff is stuff that everybody can use. That's why it's so important. My dad actually said if he knew a place like this existed, he would have sent every upper management there, even if they didn't have a problem, to learn more about themselves. Because it's a life lesson of who you are. You discover you. One of my therapists in treatment had me write my eulogy.
Wow.
Epic event. So I originally, obviously, I looked at it and I was like, write my eulogy. He goes, I want you to write it from your kid's eyes. And I'm like, but I don't have any kids. And he goes, well, pretend you do. And I said, well, I don't want them to know everything about me, right? And he said, well, that's a great thing. The children you're going to have are going to know the future of you. But my point of it is, I went back to my room and I told you, rehab, I did everything. I wrote everything down. I did everything as fast as I could. So I went in and I started writing. I wrote about this guy who cared. One of the things I said is, I wrote it from my children's perspective. I should have brought it. If I knew you were going to ask this question, I wish I did. I'll send it to you. I'll email it to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think it's epic. I said, my father believed that trust was given, not earned. That everybody was worthy of trust and everybody was worthy of love. That only would that be removed upon their own demise or their own decision to remove it from your life. So trust was taken away. Love was disregarded. My father built a business and built a legacy on the contribution of being a better human being. I wrote all these things, okay? And none of them were about the car I drove. None of them were about the amount of money I made. It was all these things about, and I remember going to my therapist the next day and I said, you gotta read this, dude. This fucking guy's epic, right? This is the most epic. I thought I wrote a story, right? I wrote a story. And he looked at it and he goes, have you read it to anybody else? I said, no. He said, I'm gonna read it back to you. Right? I said, okay. He read it back to me. I go, right? This guy's awesome. He goes, it's you. I said, no, that's not me. That's a guy that, left rehab and then did epic shit with his life and then cared about other people. And he goes, you just wrote who you want to be. That's your role model. That's who you want to be. Go fucking be him.
That's amazing.
So take the challenge. Now, I've told you why you're writing it, so you might... but let me increase the challenge to you guys, everybody that's listening, is don't disregard the paper. Don't get to write it more than once, okay? So you can only write it down once, and I don't want the pen to leave the paper. Because I think if you overthink it, you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to sound cliche, I don't want to sound that. I didn't know that they were going to tell me. I shouldn't have told you that part. It kind of takes the message out of it, but it delivers the message to you, but it takes the purpose out of it. Is I didn't know that he was going to, what it was for. I didn't put it together. I didn't do the 1+1 on that one. But ultimately, I left it. And I've still got it. I carried the journal with me. I still have that one. I've got a piece of the journal that I didn't rip out, and it's pretty friggin' empowering because I mean, he was right. I wrote who I want to be remembered as. Go be him. Go be that guy.
That's powerful. That must have been insane for you to like.
It was Keith was his name. He was Keith was the name of the therapist, and I forget his last name. Up at Passages. He was such a cool cat, man. I sat there with him one time, and I was kind of this. I'm me. This is how I talk. I talk like this all the time, and even in treatment, I was like this. And one day, I got emotional about something, and he gets up and leaves the room, right? And I'm like I'm thinking we're having like one of these, light switch moments, aha moments, right? Like, oh, I'm breaking through. I'm finding out what's wrong with me, And he literally comes back and he has a scented candle. He goes, "Bro, you're getting way too emotional for me." I'm like, "Are you serious? What kind of therapist are you?" But he always brought it home. But he was this cool guy, and he was just easy and chill. And I mean, he's got a thankless job. He sees 13 of me or 14 of me, or at least 8 of me a day. People like me a day for an hour in, either early withdrawal or mid recovery. Well, we're easygoing guys, So, shout out to the therapists at Passages that were there when I was there. Because man, you can say what you want about the owners. You can say what you want about the insurance and stuff. The people that are working the boots to ground. Man, oh man, do they care? They were all at my grand opening of Whole Life Balance here.
Wow, that just shows you the connection and the help and the support.
There's twofold. One, you're absolutely right. The fact they showed up means they care. But I did it because I owed them an end of the story, or a beginning of another chapter anyways. They were part of my process to get me back to LA. They all had an involvement in my sobriety. And I usually, because I'd done a little bit of work in a couple of treatment centers since I moved out here, the only time they see a story is a not successful one because it's relapse.
Oh wow!
So it was a gift to them. It was my gift to them. I wanted them to see one of the people that they worked on, kicking it home, or trying his damnedest. And there was a couple. Christopher Scott Pearson was there. Kelly Baker was there. I forget. I think a couple other people that took me in. So 2 I remember specifically that were there, and I apologize if I'm forgetting anybody if they were having to listen to this, because you all meant something to me. But they were pretty emotional. Like it was, happy, but they looked. I caught a couple minutes where they looked around like, little prick did it, because they expected big things of me.
Sure.
So it's nice to reward. It's nice to say you guys are right. You bet on the right horse. Thank you. Now they bet on every horse, which they have to. But this horse really ran for him, thoroughbred it. So don't know where that analogy comes. I've never been to a horse race. So
that's good though. That's good that you turned it around. And now I want to get into Vitamin Patch Club because it's so much more than just a product. Like you get the 90% absorption. It gets rid of the needles for people that are scared of needles with the IV drip. It's not invasive because you've got the patch on. It's very easy to do. But that whole charity side, like the purpose, the mission behind it is so epic.
So one of the things I told you earlier is that I didn't want to idly stand by anymore. Okay, I feel that whether it's me and I just feel that I've gotten complacent, or I had gotten complacent, or I was accepting the way the world is and just going, oh well, so-and-so's president, or whatever's going to happen, or emails about this person, or any of the bullshit that we see. And I don't mean news is bullshit. I don't believe in all the fake news crap. There's different agendas in every different network. So pick your network and watch all of them and figure it out. Go to BBC or Reuters. They're actually pretty legit. But my point is just sitting by and letting things happen. Somebody else will fix it. Well, no, nobody's fixing it. There's people trying to, but that is a small amount of people that are against the people that are breaking shit, right? There was a couple things that changed my opinion on how things should be treated. And one was what I told you about the gentleman that Roni and I helped walk home, right? A very elderly man was having trouble walking up the street in front of the Whole Foods across from my studio on 5th and Wilshire in Santa Monica. And a very slow walker. We walked him 3 blocks down and 3 blocks to the right, got him in front of his old age home and checked him back in. He had no ID, no wallet on him. By the time I got back to check on him and drop off my business card to the staff, said if he ever needed a fruit or vegetable, he wouldn't wander off again. He'd had a diabetic shock and he was in the back of the ambulance. And this was the first instance that I recognized this part of all of us that I think is wrong. And it's hard to say because it's like I'm being ungrateful for gratitude, for people being grateful of me. When I got back to the studio, you know, they're like, what happened? I'm like, dude, he was in an ambulance. Like, he had diabetic shock. And one of the girls was like, oh my God, you guys saved his life, because if he was on the side of the road, he would have fallen and he had no idea and they would have thought he was homeless. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I kind of guess we did. And like, oh, good for you. And it's like these high fives. And I was like, good job for being a human. There was this old guy that, you know, but there for the grace of God, as people say, I'm going to get there one day, who was having a really rough time getting home. He looked confused. And I'm 41 at the time, or 40. I'm able-bodied. I can take 10, 15, 30, or an hour out of my day to help another human being, and it doesn't deserve a pat on the back. It really doesn't. It's oh, good for you for being human. I've got another friend of mine who's a hell of a great father. If you looked at him, you wouldn't think he would be, because he's got tattoos everywhere, and he's in the adult business, adult toy business, and he doesn't look like he would be. He's a great dad. He's a dad. He's not even a great dad, he's a dad. And people are like, oh, you're so proud of you. And he's like, why are you proud of me? For being a father? A father to my child? He's like, that's my job. That's my number one job.
It's my instinct. That's what I do.
Yeah, like that's, you know, like, and he's like, and we always joke, we joked to it on the way up to this whitewater rafting trip we did a couple weeks ago. He joked to me, he goes, I get all these messages and people saying like, good job. He's like, good job for being a parent? Like, is it gone that bad? That the person that's doing what's expected of you? And I'm proud of him, don't get me wrong. I think it's wonderful that he is a good father, and it's not like I'm saying, you know, we shouldn't give acknowledgement to people for doing the right thing, but it shouldn't be pedestal.
It shouldn't be seen as something so far beyond.
No. So with our business, what I decided is I said, look, building this epic designed patch that, you know, is easier on the liver, absorbs more nutrients, delivers to your door, great price. There's my sales pitch up. Everyone, clearly they got to hire salespeople because they don't do that part well. But more importantly is, what can we do for the world? And I work with my mom, like I said earlier, on the charity. I've worked with lupus LA out here. I've worked with rheumatoid arthritis out here. I've worked with breast cancer out here. And I've been here for 3 years, and I've been either corporate or a sponsor to Winter Wonderland Children's Hospital LA. You name it, I've put our whole life balance or Shane Griffin on a donation check somewhere. That's important. That's a good thing. That makes me feel good. How do I impact more? How do I deliver this message that I've said to you guys on the podcast here of changing lives, of encouraging and making things better? How do I get a platform to do that? Well, I've got to build a business that's successful, but in turn, I've got to build a community within that business. And how do you do that? Let's involve the community. So we've built into our apparatus 3 charities. Each month we nominate a global and a national charity. And then the regional one, or the local one, or it doesn't really even have to be, we're saying regional charity, is that of your choosing. So you as the customer can log on, send us an email, send us a quick video of something that matters to you. It's relevant to you. I'm sure we're going to be inundated with a lot of them. There's probably going to be hundreds of them. But we're going to go through and we're going to post one a month. We're going to support that as though it's a new product in our business. So when we spend $20 on marketing, if $2 of that goes to one product, $2 will go to this other product, the product of the charity. So $2, $4, $6 will go to those charities. So we're going to distribute the marketing towards the two, towards them all. And that way, at the end of the month, you as our customers get to vote on which charity that is the winner. Now, we're giving to all 3. There's no loser, right? So we're going to say, hey, sorry, childhood diabetes. Fuck you. You know, the guy down in Wopacock, Muskogee, that needed the new tractor, you know. No, and this is another important component to it too, is this isn't a cash grab charity write-off thing for us. Yeah, there's going to be charities on that are going to be registered, of course. There's nonprofits, and there's an incentivized thing for taxes and all that good stuff to do that. But when it comes to the personal ones, we want to impact people on a human level. So if somebody writes in, and we can authenticate, and we're going to do due diligence, like don't mail in that, you know, Tommy needs surgery, or he's going to lose his pancreas, and we find out Tommy just needs new wheels for his Corvette. Like, you know, that's not going to happen with us. But if there's a legitimate need for somebody in this, in every country that we're going to be, right now it's an apparatus website for just North America, basically, Canada, United States. but it will become regional, where it's Canada and the United States, and then the UK, and then every country will have their own volume. That's our scalability of it. But for now, you can nominate something that matters to you regionally, and that gets up on our webpage. We market it. At the end of the month, we vote on it, and then Mr. Jolly Little Shane Griffin, who looks like Saint Nick in the off season, it will show up, or we'll have it delivered, and you're going to receive numbers. And when we're talking numbers, people have asked me, well, what kind of percentage are you going to give? And I'll be honest with you, we're going to be as transparent as glass. I'm not sticking to one percentage. I'm not telling anybody I'm doing 2, 5, 7, 10, or 15, because if I'm moved, I'm the boss, and if I'm moved and our company does $1 million in sales next month, and this kid needs stem cell research out of Pittsburgh, right? That he can't afford, that insurance is, and it could save his life, and the surgery's $140,000, and we've grossed $200,000. If everybody's paid and the business is making money, kid's going to get the 140. Now, if some other charity gets nominated that is a large corporate charity that brings in billions and hundreds of millions of dollars a year, I might give them on the lower end of a 2 to 5%, because they've got a marketing machine too. So it is going to be the discrepancy of us, but I know me. My team is going to have to hold the reins back on me, because I don't need much. I live on a boat, bro. You know what I mean?
Which we're going to have to film maybe a future episode on there.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Yeah, absolutely. It's not a big boat, folks. It's just a nice boat. But yeah, I live on a boat. I paddleboard in the morning. I return emails from bed at 6 this morning at 5. 5:30, the emails started coming in. And by 9 o'clock, I'm out the door getting my smoothie and starting my actual active day. So it's a 4-hour start, grind, get up, move. But the charity component it's instrumental. I met with some investors that wanted to invest with me, and they wanted to throw, like, I'm talking big money, like $20 million at me. And I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to do? I said, I don't need $20 million. The product's going live in a month. Like, I've already spent all the money to get it ready. What are you going to do? Make my product? We're going to make 10 times the amount. We don't know what the consumer's need is going to be, but we spent an hour and a half talking about the business and the pharmacokinetics and how we're going to do our lead pages and how we're going to do our marketing and our demographic and how we're scaling and all the fun business shit you get to do. And they looked at me and I'm like, so let me explain how the charity works. Oh, we don't, that's okay. I'm like, pardon me. And let me explain to you guys how they nominate charities, how our voting plugin is, how it's going to be live, how we're promoting it. Every Thursday on our Instagram is the charity components. That's when we post on that. Mondays is about us as a company. Tuesdays is information about health and wellness. Tuesdays at 2 we call it, which is another component of the business. That we send out information and positive stuff about what's going on in the medical community, nutritional community. Has nothing to do with our supplement brand or our nutrients or our vitamin patch. It actually is deliverable information that you usually have to go pay a professional to see. We want to give that to you for free. So every Tuesday at 2 we're dropping a nugget of information on people, and every Thursday we talk about one of our 3 charities. So, and then on the 4th one we do a summary of all 3 of them, and you get to vote. Then you can vote throughout the month also. If you pick a winner right from the get-go, that doesn't matter. But they didn't want to hear any of that stuff. And I'm like, well, we're not going to be able to do business. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, that is as important to me as the product itself. I'm keeping my FDA-approved facility that's manufacturing in the United States, USA manufactured product. I'm keeping them to such strict guidelines. The deliverable of the nutrients and of the product is 100% what I claim it is going to be. You better be as involved as that. If on the back end, I'm giving what I say I'm going to give. And if you guys don't want to know or understand about that side of the business, we got a problem. Because that's actually how I'm driving the sales of the company. I don't think this is worth shit if I'm not doing something with it.
It goes back to what you were saying about keep a close, tight circle around here and sticking to your values.
Yeah. And everybody that's working with me or for me or beside me or helping me gets it. They get it. And that's even my family, like, you know, my parents have supported me on everything. Everything. I've had unwavering support, even when it was a bad decision. They've said, well, no, I can see when I'm cringing going, oh God, no. With this one, it's different. They get it. It's almost like I finally fit the glass slipper. Finally fit. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at. The nutritional information, the charitable component, and then our product line. And we're launching with a vitamin B complex with B12, a biotin, a vitamin D3, and a multivitamin. Those are our first 4 products. And then in 3 months, we have another 4 products that come out, and those are in the pipeline right now. They're going to be announced. I can't announce them yet. It's kind of like Apple. Ooh.
Slimmer, more dynamic,
bigger screen. And then we're really excited when we come out in 6 months from now. We're coming out maybe sooner, but 6 months is the target for our children's line.
Oh, wow.
So we're marketing to women first. We're getting the people that actually take care of themselves best. Sorry, guys. We're late to the party. It was just look at the sales. That's how it works. But we're marketing to women first. They're smarter than us. And then we go to men, usually because they've been advised to take it from their partner. In my case, that's probably how it would have been. And then we figure, logically the sequence would be that if you've got moms, dads, his and her, that it becomes a trusted component, trusted brand. And we're talking some pretty big companies to do some licensing and branding on it, to have let's just say superheroes and such on the
that's so
thing.
cool.
So you can imagine what an iron patch could be.
Yeah.
Right. So we think that's pretty epic if we can pull that off, pull the rabbit out of the hat. That's all down the road though. Right now we want to get launched. We want to start making an impact on the community around us, the nation around us, and the globe. And right now, God, I wish I did launch on time, because we'd be sending a lot of support down to family and friends in Florida. And I had one of my employees is from Texas. So even though you don't need to have personal connection to care, it's amazing how it implores you more, right? All of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm gonna do something. I know somebody there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking forward to being able to just get in touch with the community and start building this active. God, it's funny, we're using this for promotions. Active campaign. We want to be established in the business, in the space, as a thought leader.
Okay.
And I just heard that term. I didn't know what it was a week and a half ago. I'm not going to pretend that I created any of this stuff. This is total hearsay. I told the young lady on the phone that I was going to take it from her, because it's the biggest compliment I've ever been told. She goes, "You are a thought leader." And I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Aren't we disruptive?" She said, "No, you're a thought leader." She goes, "You've found a pain point with people. People don't like to swallow pills. You've eliminated that. People don't like to waste money. You've eliminated that. So you found the stress points, and you've created a better mousetrap." She goes, "That's one thing." She goes, "But the way you want to impact the things around you," she goes, "that's a thought leader." She goes, "Your business is in the thought leader space." And I'd never heard that before. And I'm like, that is the nicest compliment I've ever been told. Who would have thought the word thought leader? I mean, you're changing the way people are going to do things, but you're doing it for good and on a platform of wellness and health and happiness and community and charity. And I'm like, wow, that's me. Time to go in the mirror and say, thanks, bro. Seriously, I was saying, go talk to yourself. Like, give yourself. The other thing, it's good to ask yourself questions. It's good to tell yourself you're doing okay when you're doing okay. It's not bragging if you back it up. Kid Rock said it best, bro. You ain't bragging if you back it up.
Yeah.
That's from his album Cocky. He's an old friend of mine.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So that's great, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. I love that you're taking that full control to your values with the charities and letting people have a say in it. 'Cause so many times it's written off as like, oh, we're going to these well-funded charities who barely even need the money. Not to say that they don't deserve it, but like you're letting people put a stake in it, like you said, when it's personal.
What I've learned from working with my mom on the cystic fibrosis in Canada, what I've learned from that is even the people that are volunteers that don't have a big role, some people they've got kids, they've got careers, they've got stuff going on, and all of them are tremendously important. Everyone has a role, but some of them are coming in on just the Saturday to put napkins on the tables and the centerpieces in place. We needed that done. When you give somebody some ownership of something that provides good, that is an addictive quality in itself, a positive one. When somebody feels they're a part of goodness, their body metaphysically will require or want more goodness. They will get more involved. I believe in my bones that if you give somebody empowerment, right? And that's why I say they don't even have to vote. They don't have to nominate. I don't need everybody to do that. Just by being a part of a company that's giving back empowers you first. Then maybe if you want to go to the next level, you're like, you know what? I got somebody in my community I can help. What does a person do in Arizona or Kentucky or Southern California, Northern California, doesn't matter where, that they do if they're somebody in their community needs help and they don't have access to a large audience. Let me be your audience. You know, let me be your voice. Or let us help. I mean, you can write into Ellen. She's awesome. Epic awesome. Yeah. Oprah doesn't have her show no more. Damn it. Right? Because she was epic too. There's a lot of wonderful, amazing people. And I'm putting myself up in the category of these people. I don't see myself any less. I just haven't been discovered yet. And I don't mean discovered by a TV show or radio show. That's not the goal. I'm a much better producer than performer. Right? That's absolutely hands down. But I do think that I can make that kind of impact because again, it goes back to the thing. If not me, who? And if not now, when? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? What's stopping me? A little bit of elbow grease and a couple 18-hour days and a couple things at the right place and the right people and the right support and the right marketing and the right thing and the right science. There's a couple things, but you know, a hurdle. When you see people run a race of hurdles, it ain't one hurdle.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bunch of them, right? So you know, and you knock them over.
Fall over.
Yeah, they might fall over. You might turf it. You might turf it and eat dust, bro.
But you get up and you finish that race.
You got to get up and do it. You know. So, and if you're fortunate enough to find something that you love, wow, you know, or that inspires you. If you can find a way to inspire yourself just a little bit, what a great hamster wheel that is to be on.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's where I'm at. I'm not afraid to say it anymore. Even 2 years ago, fresh into my 3 years into my sobriety, I would have been afraid to say that. I would have been, it's too proud, too cocky. No, I'm not afraid to say it. I inspire myself right now because I know that I'm going to do some amazing, epic things for a ton of people, with a ton of people together. There's some people that are doing it that I look up to. Dan Fleischman from Model Citizen Fund, right? He has procured knapsacks that are for 150 useful items and about $100 a knapsack that he gives out to the homeless.
Wow.
Right? He's based out of LA. I was fortunate enough to meet him a couple weeks ago. I went to one of his events. I was a guest of a friend of mine. And of course donated a little bit, but that's beside the point. And you know, there's people that are living it, and there's people that are talking it. This guy lives it, and I'm proud to be able to hopefully work with him and have his charity, Model Citizen Fund, 1 month be sponsored on our network because he's raising money daily, and he 100% of his goes to charity. It's a little known. It's not little known. A lot of people know it, but in the pecking order of other more industrious marketing companies that have better, he's a guy doing a good thing. There's a few of them, you know, so inspired to be inspired.
Yeah, that's awesome. The question I like to end on is the mind action gap. So there's a lot of people that have an idea of, I want to do I want to do a patch with vitamins on it to actually, all right, like you said, there's people who are doing it, there's people that are talking about it. How can those that are really bad at stalling and not following through with an idea, what's like one actionable step right now they can put in to go for their goals, to get that motion going? So
from as you know, I don't know if I gave my credentials, but I'm a certified life coach. So we come across this a lot, where people in any action, the mind gap, right? Where the mind active gap, where you know, how do you? I usually say in a question, right? What does that look like to you? So I try to have somebody come up with the answer themselves and then give them a task or an associated method to get there. So like when I said about I want to be a better dad, what does that look like to you? Well, it looks like me being home a couple more times a week in the summer. Okay. And then you should repeat it back. So it looks like you being home a couple times more a week in the summer. Yeah, that's it, Shane. They think I came up with it now. No, you just said it to me. I repeated it, right? But then I said, okay, well, how can we do that? So for me, I'm a really action-oriented guy. I'm an execution guy. So for me, it comes naturally. Whenever I want to do something or begin, I go, right? I would say that the biggest thing for people to do, in one word, I guess it goes back to something. I'm just trying to be right on top of my head, honest. Why not?
Yeah, that's perfect.
I think honestly, why not? You know, if you have an idea, why not? Why not try it? Why not go for it? We touched on this earlier. We're talking, whenever we're talking about failures. You mentioned there was a story about a guy who, actor. We were talking about
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. and saying that his father wanted to be an actor and took a 9-to-5 job and worked in the shop and did everything, and then got laid off at 60. And was like, oh God, I failed at something I didn't want to do. At least fail at something you want to do.
Yeah, you can always go back to the thing you don't want to do.
Yeah, you can always, like, and that's what I say too. Like, I mean, I'm loving what I'm doing right now, and I hope it makes money. I hope I can do all the charity. As long as I'm happy and we're executing what I say we're gonna execute. The minute I'm not happy, bye-bye. And if that means that I gotta go take a job somewhere or I gotta do something, that's fine too. Big deal. Been there before, I'll be there again. But this is different though. This is just so epic. I'm not concerned about it. Like, I mean, I can't explain how awesome this setup is, and when the world sees it, and when you guys see it, and hopefully you're all customers, you know, and you know that you're a part of a machine that's doing good and coming out with a new product that's actually benefiting you and not ripping you off and not selling you chelated full of unactivated ingredients. You know, it's gonna be we're gonna change a lot of shit here.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's like one step at a time. You're gonna grow, and a year from now, one of the things I want to do is do like follow-ups at some point once the guests I have on reach their full steam and come back and show like here he is a year out. Look at what he's done. And
yeah, and you know, and it's good for people too, and it's good for people to see too.
Yeah.
Because every step sometimes seems like it might only seem like a half a step, but to get there might have been, you know, a half a step is all perspective, right? If the step's 12 feet high, that's 6 feet, right? If the step's 6 inches high, that's 3 inches, right? So it's interesting because it's kind of like a renovation of a house a buddy of mine's building in Toronto, and the demolition happens so fast, and then the study goes up so fast, and everything else takes forever, right? And that's kind of what happens with a project too. You know, when you're starting something, you're like, okay, I've done all the research, I've talked to manufacturers, and then it's like, wait a minute, I've got to do this for my website. That plugin has to go. This goes here. We have to change that. It's going to take you 2 weeks to change the font. You know, whatever it is. So, yeah, I'd love to do a follow-up, man. I'd love to.
Awesome. Guys, you heard it here. He dropped a ton of knowledge bombs, and rewind it, re-listen to it, share with a friend. This stuff needs to be heard, from looking yourself in the mirror and being honest to figuring out what it is you want to do and creating that tight circle. There's so many actionable steps he's implemented here, and be sure when does the Vitamin Club Patch Club
officially launched? Oh God, don't give me a deadline. We're anywhere from 4 to 7 weeks out. Okay. But you are going to see it.
Yeah.
If you follow Goalcast, if you follow Collective Evolution, you follow Higher Perspectives, any 3 of those websites, you're going to hear about us. If not, and you're in our demographic, we're targeting you. So you'll start seeing us on your inboxes and your feeds and stuff, because it's creepy, but everybody else is doing it, so don't hate me. Yeah. And we got some funny videos and stuff like that we hope go a little viral. You guys can't see me unless you're watching this on the YouTube, but I'm bald with a beard that's gray, and I'm about 5'5", and I'm telling you about vitamin patches all over the place in your own home. I'm interrupting you watching a movie with your boyfriend or girlfriend. I wake you up when you're asleep to tell you that you can wear them while you're sleeping. So yeah, I just kind of break into people's houses and tell them about vitamin. Don't break in. I don't break in. I actually ask permission to enter. But the videos are funny. And it's my first time acting, so cut me some slack.
There we go. Look forward to it, guys. And we'll definitely put a link in the show notes, and we'll definitely be promoting it on our end.
Yeah, you can sign up early, though. That's the one thing. You go to vitaminpatchclub.com, give us your email, and you will start you in our email funnel, which is kind of fun. We've got some quinky videos in there, like, hey, I'm on a boat. You'll see the boat. I'm on the boat. I'm like, thanks for logging in earlier. Thanks for shipping, or thanks for leaving port with us early, or whatever it is, or jumping on board early. But we give you some informative stuff too. And again, these health hacks and these health things that we're going to be giving out, the Tuesdays at 2s, you can start getting healthy information, and you can start learning about some of the charities that we're going to be supporting in our launch month, which gets you informed. But it also warms you up to the product a little bit and explains. We're going to have a how-to video, how to use it, when to use it, where you use it, where to stick it, when not to put them on, which is only if you just got out of the shower, you've lathered yourself in oil, really. Don't stick it on the side of your head if you got hair. It's not going to absorb. But there's certain things you should and shouldn't do. My suggestion is just put it on when you go to sleep. I think it's the smartest thing in the world. I wear 4 patches right now whenever I go to bed. I wake up feeling like a rocket ship.
How long do the patches, how long are they active for?
So depending on the person's body of sweat, right? Basically it's a water-soluble nutrient that's embedded in the adhesive level of the patch, of the back side of the patch. So when you put it on, as soon as you seal that area, underneath that area, you can imagine if you put saran wrap on your hand,
Yeah.
you start perspiring a little bit. As soon as you start perspiring, so if you've got a low, sweat glands, you don't sweat a lot, it might take up to 8 hours to absorb. So it's a day. You put it on in the morning. You got it throughout the day. You can put it on your scapula, your back of your shoulder. You can put it on your sacrum, which your lower back. Put it on your lower abdomen. You can put it on the top of your foot. You can put it on your bicep. You can put it on the back of your hand, on your wrist. So several places. It can be discreet or it can be non-discreet.
Is there an ideal spot, or it doesn't matter?
Well, for us, I'd love you to wear it on the back of your hand and then shoot at the peace symbol, which we always do. That's our logo. That's kind of on, if you go to our Instagram, Vitamin Patch Club, at Vitamin Patch Club, you'll see all the pictures are here. And these mean more than, it's V for Vitamin Patch. It's peace, because we believe that the world needs to get more peaceful, and that some encouragement, some love, nurturing, and compassion can create that. And then the other one is, is that we just think it's time that we started giving each other a little bit more dignity and respect, and we think that through information and education we can stamp out hate in the world. So we've got an agenda, folks.
Yeah.
We've got an agenda on the charity side, on the humanity side, on the equality side. We want to touch on everything, and we're going to need you guys to do it. The bottom line is, if I don't have an audience, it's just me talking to the mirror, and that gets a little crazy out there. So.
Awesome. Well, Shane, thank you so much for coming in.
I appreciate you having me.
Having you.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it so much.